Welcome again. So in my catch-up review with clients, many clients are expressing their vulnerability about their jobs and sort of expressing how can they protect themselves or through this downturn and what they can do to basically protect their jobs. So we invited Simon Stibbs along today, who is the principal at HR consultancy firm, Edward George. So welcome, Simon.
Thanks, Justin. I appreciate your time.
So Simon's just going to run through today basically where the employment market sits, what people can do to protect their jobs, and what they can also do to get themselves ready for the next job if they're made redundant or they're looking to move to greener pastures. So Simon, how tough is the employment market at the moment, and what sectors in particular are struggling?
Sure, good question, Justin. I'll refer to my statistics here because I was just looking at some stats before this meeting. So currently in WA, as of October 2015, we're sitting at an unemployment rate of about 5.7%, which means that in the WA labour force, you've got about 1.12 million people in the labour force, which I guess equates to around 63,000 people out of work, which is up from 57,000 in April. In terms of your question around sectors, I guess the growth sectors at the moment is health and social assistance is up 20%. I should clarify, this is the Department of Employment statistics based on projections for 2019. So they're expecting that's health and social assistance to grow 20%. Education and training 11%, construction 11%, and professional services, scientific and technical by about 11%. I guess on the not so good news, the manufacturing, they're expecting negative growth of 3% and mining negative growth of 17% towards 2019.
Yep, okay. And is the current downturn just a cyclical thing with resources prices coming off, or are you seeing it more structural where automation and certain sectors are coming under pressure from machinery, automation, people downsizing, doing things a different way or a better way, or is it just purely cyclical and we're going to see ourselves out of this?
I think there's no doubt, Justin, that we're seeing a changing shift in the market in terms of structural. I was reading an article last week about sort of driverless trucks on mine sites. The oil and gas industry, I think at last count, is about $46 a barrel at current point in time. And, I guess projections as far as back in June of 2014, it was $110 a barrel.
Yep.
So that really staves off significant investment in the sector. But to answer your question, no doubt at some point things will turn. But I do think it's structural, and that for many people they need to look at reskilling in the employment workforce.
Yeah. So are we expecting things to get worse before they get better, or are we more going to see just a flatlining over the next 2 or 3 years?
It's a good question. I think largely it depends on what sector you're in. So if you're in some of those growth sectors I mentioned, health, education, construction, professional services, you can expect growth, and in fact your outlook looks pretty good if you're employed in those sectors. But if you're in manufacturing or mining or currently oil and gas, then things are looking a little grim.
Yeah, and for those people, all those executives, middle management, etc., who are in oil and gas, who are a lot of my clients and who have big commitments and things like that,
Sure.
and what can they do to sort of protect themselves from being made redundant first of all, and if they are, what can they do now to prepare for that so they're not out of the market for too long?
Sure. Look, it's an important question. I think one of the number one things is continually building your network. So even though you're gainfully employed, it's often too late to start working on your network when you're unemployed. So getting out and about and keeping in touch with good contacts. The other thing is ideally, if you can, not be precious on geography. So if you do have to move geographic locations, that's something that you should consider seriously if you're in a market where it's very competitive to find the type of roles you're after.
Yeah.
And I guess the final thing would be identifying skill gaps. So sort of really doing a skills inventory, if you like, of where you're at now, where you think the opportunities are going to be in the future within your sector. There will always be roles, but they are morphing. And really trying to de-risk your future in terms of making sure that you're the most attractive that you can be within the sectors you're in.
Yeah, so just further to that, so what sectors, just go through again, what sectors are growing and what what people can do, what individuals can do to prepare to maybe move into those growing sectors away from the more structurally dwindling sectors.
Sure. So those sectors were health and social assistance, education and training, construction, professional services, which includes scientific and technical services. To answer your question about morphing your career, I guess I'm a big advocate of follow your passion, so do what you love. And use that as your primary sort of purpose. And if you follow, firstly identify what you love, then go out and find out what re-education is required. It's not to say that there might be a terrific opportunity within your own industry to look at moving your career to things that you really enjoy.
Yep.
So I would always advocate, don't chase the dollar, chase your passion, and then the dollars will flow from there.
Yeah. And you can help people in this process as well?
Yeah, absolutely. We have an outplacement service, Justin. So if you do find that you're made redundant, you can go to your employment. So look, your employer, say, I'd like to sort of call this guy Simon Stibbs from Edward George, and we can assist you through that journey and process.
Yeah. So Simon, thanks for joining us today. So I hope that provided some insight of what people can do, because I know every person I speak to is feeling vulnerable, as I said. So I just thought it'd be a topical time to bring Simon in and discuss where the employment market is, what people can do to sort of take advantage of the growing sectors, and also protect themselves from being made redundant. So I hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks, Justin.